Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be recommending the different styles of shoes that go well with the different types of feet. And I've split the feet into four categories. There is the first two, which are your narrow or wide feet, and the second two according to arches. So the first one is either your fallen, flat or low arches, whichever you prefer, and the fourth one is your high arches. I'm Anesu Sagonda and I manage a luxury lifestyle management business in London. My content is largely educationally focused and geared towards people who are typically new to money or keen to explore alternate mid-lux or super brands that are a little under the radar but still heavily weighted on quality. Narrow and wide feet are typically genetic. Looking specifically at narrow feet, what you tend to find the biggest issue is that shoes are typically quite roomy. They might be great in terms of the length, but the sides tend to gape quite a bit. Worst offending shoes would be your ballet pumps. What I'd highly recommend for your narrow feet is going for shoes with adjustable straps. That way you can really tighten the straps and ensure that the fit is really snug around your foot. Tod's is amazing in terms of having a really good range of narrow fitting shoes. Wide feet, I would highly recommend good contoured arch support. Shoes that are typically wide and rounded at the front. So whether they're opened or closed, as long as the toes are not constricted. I wouldn't recommend your pointy toes or flip-flops. Flip-flops are the worst because they just help spread feet that are already wide anyway. I would recommend summer sandals are great, open toe heels are good. I'd also recommend your block, your chunky, your wedge heels, around 2 inches, no more than 2.5 inches. And Manola Blahnik are great for wide fitting shoes. For your fallen, flat, low arches, I highly recommend closed supportive shoes, which will control the widening. It's absolutely important you have interior arch support. That's an absolute deal breaker. I wouldn't recommend things like your flip-flops, most sandals, or your ballet pumps. They have no arch support whatsoever. And flip-flops are the worst because they just help with spreading what are already fallen feet that are typically wide as well. What would I recommend? I would definitely recommend a very small heel. Think along the lines of a kitten heel or a very wide supporting heel, nothing stiletto or very thin. With high arches, the arches are so high and it upsets the balance of the body because the arches are not in contact with the ground, so the foot is not able to absorb shock as it should. And what I highly recommend is shoes that either have a rubber heel or extra cushioning to be able to absorb that shock. The worst types of shoes would be your flats. They have no arch support whatsoever. But people with high arches thrive particularly from heels. I would recommend your cork wedges. Cork wedges are great because that cork absorbs the shock very well. And also heels in general, but no more than 4.5 inches. What tends to happen with high arches is your feet tilt inwards, so you're quite prone to your foot or ankle sprains. When buying heels, I always recommend sizing up. So if you're buying a heel that's between 2 to 4 inches, I would say get half a size up from your normal size. If it's between 4 to 6 inches, get a whole size up. Or if it's over 6.5 inches, get 1.5 sizes above. That way it's a more comfortable fit, it's bigger, it's roomier, and your toes are not squashed. The other thing is when you're buying shoes, try and buy shoes at the end of the day or on a hot day. That way your foot is at its biggest and you know what your maximum capacity is, albeit any medical conditions such as pregnancy or fluid retention, for example. But it's better to get something that's bigger than something that's way too small and you struggle to ever find comfort in it. If it's a little too big, you can always put in an insole. The other thing is patent leather stretches a lot. Please be aware of that. There's certain brands, for example, Christian Louboutin, their patent stretches excessively. I have found you need to go 1.5 sizes down. It stretches that much, but just something for you to be aware of. But otherwise, a number of recommendations for types of shoes going with, depending on the type of feet you have. If you have any further questions, do let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, thank you for watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.